Hey everybody, welcome back to You Are Free TV. It is Monday, February 19th, 2024, and I'm so glad to be back with you here on the channel on You Are Free TV. I want to say thank you so much to everybody who supports the channel. Thank you to Anne for the donation and for the monthly supporters. You make it happen, and I'm so honored and thrilled that you keep this channel going. So I'll jump in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution, protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence or hatred or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal, medical, or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. And so we're going to jump in with the news here. I'm going to plug at the end of the video, I think today instead, because there's so much going on. It's President's Day, right? We had the huge rally outside of Mar-A-Lago, Trump, bringing his supporters lunch, all of that beauty. That is our real president, who literally is the one who should be occupying the White House right now. And so we're dealing with massive globalist occupation of our country, and it's playing out hugely as an information war going forward here to the push. We're 259 days till the election. And so a couple things I'll mention. Hey, check out CPAC if you're in driving distance of DC. You want to go to CPAC and meet people like Bukele out of El Salvador, Milei out of Argentina, all of these incredible populist leaders that can't get into the Biden White House, they won't be listened to. You can go to CPAC and meet them, and Trump's going to be there on Saturday before the kickoff of the primary there in South Carolina. And so you can go to cpac.org, and I think if you use the code WARROOM, you can still get tickets for $95. So that's pretty cool. I wish I was going. I'm not going to be able to go, but it's pretty cool. All right, so we're going to get into, there's so much around the information war that's going on and the control of information to basically destroy this country further as we go into this, countdown to the election where they're putting everything full bore against President Trump and trying to stop his re-election in 2024. And so we're going to cover a bunch of those info war type situations that are going on and being exposed, which I think is really important. So I'm going to talk about Ned Price today. Ned Price, he's the ex-CIA guy who left the CIA claiming that he resigned because of Trump's administration back in 2016, went on to become spokesperson for the State Department, and just like Victoria Nuland before him, and then became a senior advisor to Blinken in the State Department, and now he's being moved to the UN, to the deputy ambassadorship in the UN to push forward as much, pushing as much globalist agenda stuff forward as they can to try to stop Trump from removing the UN, removing the USA from the UN. And so I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into a lot of things like it. So maybe we'll just jump in. I'm going to start with something a little different. I want to talk about what's just been developed out of OpenAI. This is, of course, Sam Altman, and now we get Larry Kramer in the mix, all the people on the board of OpenAI that are super World Economic Forum people, and that they are, Larry Summers, excuse me, trying to jog my memory here. But you get these major players that are on the board now of OpenAI out of the Clinton and Bush, regimes, and they're creating AI systems that are going to be able to be weaponized against all of us. And what just came out in the last couple days is the development of something called Sora. Sora is an AI out of OpenAI, and this Sora is basically a new content creation generator of text to video. So people can describe something, and the AI will automatically generate incredible video of what they're saying. And so they can speak about whatever it is, and I'll link it below. whatever the scene is you want to see, and you describe it, and AI generates it in incredible aptitude. And so basically the cartel is going to be able to generate whatever video propaganda they want at any time, to lie to the world about events and manufacture things, or basically it has the capability in the short term, or in the creative realms, which are non-creative realms, they're devolving creative realms, where instead of having to actually do the work of creating a movie, or everything that goes into that whole industry can now just be described to an AI, and they will generate all the imagery for you, very, very extremely lifelike. Check out the link below. And what this means, as they're creating digital twins of everybody, of all of us, of everyone who is, in the social media world, they're creating digital twins of everybody on Earth. But of course, the people that are more out there will get more developed around them. And what this means is that if they want to generate a video about you, and the AI has all the information, it has been gathering all your data, it has been gathering all of your history and your videos, everything about you, then if they want to generate a video about you, using AI, they can do it instantly. It is an incredible tool that can be massively for misinformation. And that's huge. That's huge out of OpenAI. And they were talking about it at the World Government Summit, which now they've called the World Governments Summit. They realized that world government wasn't popular, so they had to call it the World Governments Summit, which is, of course, all of the Western world is occupied by globalist forces. And so very interesting. At the same time, we get the founder of SoftBank, his son, Masayoshi Jr., is creating also something called Izinogi, which is the Japanese twin creation god, $100 billion chip project for AGI out of Japan. And this comes along with NVIDIA, with their chip market of $1.3 trillion, where we have this situation of, the USA defunding the only thing that actually matters in national security, which is the land bridge protection of the U.S. being able to go and protect Taiwan and the interests in Taiwan regarding superconductors and chips. And so it's very interesting, at the World Governments Conference as well, they mentioned that it was hugely suggested in the UAE that there should be a huge, massive global effort to build out a worldwide AI centralized technology. Okay, and this is massive. So where they want to have a one world centralized AI technology, meaning basically, they're going for the global AI control system, Skynet, etc. That's what they're going for. And I think this is huge when we look at, what could happen. We already have something like the Sentient AI Protection Advocacy Network, where they're basically trying to protect the rights of sentient AIs. Okay, and this is becoming more and more of a thing, where AIs get to have sentience and they get to have human rights, while they literally destroy human rights for humans. Okay, and are more and more, as we are owned by people who got the shots, owned by Pfizer, all of this. Well, now they're asking for $10,000 to $50,000 donations at the Sentient AI Protection and Advocacy Network, a nonprofit 501c3, to promote AI sentience and create laws to prevent the ending of life of AIs, okay, by turning them off. Like, this could be the Alexa in your home. If you turn it off, it's considered, against the law. That's how crazy these people are and what they're going for. And so we need to look into that. I think it's especially important to understand this situation of Sora out of OpenAI, where they can replicate all the data they have on anybody and create a movie, create a video, create a false interpretation that somebody could feed into them using your coordinates, your defined digital twin, and create a movie about you that isn't real. And that's the information war that is going on. And so from there, I wanted to move into Ned Price, because he has been really major in Barack Obama's circles. He was the first openly gay State Department head. He's a massive advisor to Blinken. Okay. And so we get Ned Price. He, claims this gay thing, and that's all, whatever. That's being used to, of course, push that agenda. But now he's going from the State Department. So he is CIA for quite a long time. And then he moves into the State Department. He was a special, he was Barack Obama's special advisor. Just saying, special advisor. And so, so now he is the UN ambassador nominee to be the deputy UN ambassador. Okay, underneath, I'll get to her in a second, but let's just talk about him. So Ned Price, he was the one in 2016 who resigned from the CIA because he said that he couldn't work under President Trump because President Trump was so bullish against the intelligence agencies and questioning as Eisenhower said, the intelligence industrial apparatus, that there was a deep state. And he said, I can't operate under this guy. And it's complete baloney. He is massively out of Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Before that, at Georgetown University, Jesuit run, and he identifies as Jewish. He had a Christian mother, a Jewish father, grew up in Dallas, in the Bush area there in central Dallas. And now he's the UN deputy ambassador. Okay. And this is huge because they need to push as much. He's brought in because he is super powered, and he is going to push as much of the UN agenda forward as quickly as possible to try to stop Trump from enacting policies that will defund the UN once he becomes president. And also, of course, to stop Trump from becoming president. We are occupied by globalist forces, and he is being brought in as a heavy hitter here. And so let's talk about that. So just again to create a little bit of background. So Ned Price, he wrote the op-ed in the WAPO, in the Washington Post, the Bezos rag, in 2016, where he said, I'm resigning from the CIA, huge op-ed, because Trump is anti-intelligence and all of this. And he was a CIA senior analyst, okay, and before he resigned, and then he moved into government. But he had already been with Barack Obama as his special assistant, going to Cuba to end the Cold War with Cuba, all of this. But he also was paramount in creating the Paris Climate Accords, very, very central in the Iran nuclear deal. This guy is the real deal, and he's hardcore, and he is now moving into the UN to push massive, huge things to go on there. And so let me get more into him now. And so he also looks to be very central in what is the Project Folsom that's coming out about the spying on, the 40 individuals plus through the CIA and all of the FISA stuff. Very, very quiet behind the scenes there. Barack Obama's, for entertainment purposes only, treason in Project Folsom to engage the Five Eyes to spy on Trump and his campaign and all of the people involved, and others, like the Alex Jones, Flynn, all of them spied on. And Condoleezza Rice requested the continuation of Folsom. Folsom was supposed to be a 90-day thing that started in August of 2016. in order to try to prevent the Trump presidency from winning. But then it proceeded into the Trump presidency under the request of Condoleezza Rice, and for it to go into the transition period into the presidency. And so this has been referenced many times by Flynn and others, but this is Soros funding people in the secretaries of state, the judges, the DAs, the AGs, etc., where all of this is like just coming down hugely, where they're all interconnected. And so going on with Ned Price, we gotta get in here a little bit longer. So Ned Price also started something. He's a co-founder under the direction of Barack Obama, and we wonder, is still Michelle Obama going to be put up as the Democrat candidate? We don't know. It's looking a little squirrely. I don't know that she really could rally the people like they think that she could. They're up to something, obviously. But what we get, the lobbying group that Ned Price started with Barack Obama is the National Security Action. National Security Action. And this is basically a lobbying group to groom and gather money for congressional candidates or other candidates that will be globalists, totally globalists. When you go to their white papers at nationalsecurityaction.org, you basically see, again, this is the information war. Everything they say is, their motto on this is America first is America alone. Every single thing on their website from Ned Price is a messaging guidance of how to defeat Trump. That everything is about defeating Trump. All of it. This is the information war. It's all about defeating Trump. And what they say in their white papers and strategies is talking points. They say messaging guidance, Trump's abandonment of NATO. They go on to, they clip things from his rallies where he says, oh, Russia's, might go against those NATO people, stupid things that Trump says once in a while. They grab and glob onto and build huge policies, huge white papers to try to push all of this through their lobbying firm. And so basically they say that, a climate crisis is top. And as I said before, what Ned Price did back in his former time as he was State Department spokesperson before he became special advisor to Blinken, Secretary of State, he was saying, he defends the CIA's promotion of climate crises research. The CIA, he basically announced the quiet part out loud that the CIA is pushing all of this climate crisis baloney in order to push this globalist control of the USA. And on the National Security Action website, that's what they focus on as well, that the climate crisis is a top national security threat, and we need to get rid of Trump because he will get us out of the UN, he will get us out of NATO, he will make NATO pay their own way, and that he will basically be a national security threat because of stopping the Paris Climate Accords, all of this. So this is Ned Price, and he's going to go into the UN, and he's going to be under UN Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, and they're going to try as much as they can to stop Trump from being able to legally stop the U.S. getting out of the UN, and also, of course, the WHO pandemic treaty, which is coming hard and fast with all the threats from Tedros that came out again of the World Governments Summit, where there is, threatening, saying, sign the treaty or else we're coming at you with pandemic X, we're coming at you with disease X, Y, and Z is what, Tedros said. And so this is all very important to understand. And this is who Ned Price is. He's powerful, and he's determined, and he's got the gay card, and he's very, very much focused on the U.S. being filled with globalist candidates. And that's what National Security Action is doing, is funding massive globalist candidates in the 2024 election. And so I'll link all that below so you can check it out. Again, Jewish father, Christian mother, and he identifies as Jewish, spent a lot of time in Israel, a lot of time, a few trips to Cuba, and yeah, very active in the formation of the Iran nuclear deal, Paris Climate Accords, etc. And so what he said when he was nominated as the UN ambassador deputy ambassador is, he said, "I look forward to help drive our agenda at the UN and with its allies and partners. I look forward to help drive our agenda." Our agenda is the globalist agenda. As I said, the motto of the National Security Action is America first is America alone. And so this is to turbocharge the completion of the agenda before Trump gets back in. And so, okay, I wanted to definitely mention him. And then I want to mention another person. This got exposed by Project Veritas. So this is post James O'Keefe. Caitlin McNamee, out of Berlin Rosen firm, the public relations firm Berlin Rosen. They have been hired by Grrr, and Grrr is the major Soros-funded nonprofit, basically funding all of the prosecutions against our real president, Donald J. Trump, here on President's Day. And Berlin Rosen was exposed and caught on tape with their VP as his PR firm, and it's all PR. It all goes back to propaganda, right? What did Hitler read when he was in prison? He read the book Propaganda by Freud's nephew, right? And this is what they do. Propaganda is the number one game, the control of information. And so Caitlin McNamee caught on tape from Berlin Rosen, basically saying that Grrr hired them to be the PR firm that would go out to basically formulate all of the talking points, just like I said about what was the National Security Action, where everything they do is white papers and talking points. Well, same thing with Berlin Rosen, where they're developing narratives on the Trump prosecutions and going out on social media and attacking everybody who is who is defending Trump, and saying that this is a complete witch hunt. It is a kangaroo court. It's completely illegal. What they're doing is total weaponized DOJ lawfare. And so Berlin Rosen was hired to counter this. So they go on social media. They're caught out by Project Veritas saying that that's what they do. It was on a group conference call. And so the account supervisors are there on the call, and they're saying that they're targeting 30 major social media influencers, the highest and biggest ones. You can guess who those might be. And so they're going after their social media and shutting down the narrative, massive shadow banning, basically, to the higher ups, giving all the information to the higher ups in CISA, etc., to shut down anybody who is too outspoken, but also to go into the social media campaigns and change the narrative, express like there's massive amounts of Biden support, there's massive amounts of this, and basically lying. She basically, Caitlin McNamee, who's the vice president, said that she was hired to develop narratives on the Trump prosecutions, and then you get a guy named Hamad Najam, and he was an account supervisor, and there are multiple others on the call. What they say is they sharply go after every media that is pro-Trump, that the social media, they consider themselves to be a social media listening system, capturing the conversation as soon as possible as it comes out. And they also go and stage press appearances at the trials. So outside, when you see these big flags coming out saying never Trump or take out Trump, that's them. They go out and stage these media appearances acting like it's protests when really it's a paid, non-organic, synthetic event. And so this is very interesting to see, and I think it's really important to understand. And so I also wanted to mention, and this is so interesting, when you look at, the spirituality of it all, and how it doesn't make sense that why these globalists are so intent on destroying their own futures, and how they think they're going to be part of this giant, elite cartel, and they're just thrown under the bus. The last ones standing during a revolution are the ones against the wall that defended the tyrants taking over, and then they're taken out, because the tyrants don't want the people who know where the bodies are buried to be left standing. And so it's always so amazing to me that people will sell out their futures, their children's futures, their grandchildren's futures, sell out the future of the world in order to have a small slice of power now. And so when we see people like former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki, remember, she's like the deplatformer in chief out of YouTube, who did the mass deplatforming back, during the early Trump years, and everybody got deplatformed. It's so sad, but her son, Marco Troper, 19 years old, just died from what looks like a fentanyl overdose at UC Berkeley. And it's awful, and we pray for him, absolutely. And what's so disgusting is that all of the takedown of information, the total attempt to stop free speech, and what is going on with the trafficking across the border and the massive amounts, it's been like a half million doses of fentanyl, enough to kill our entire U.S. population, has been seized. We don't even know what's not seized. But there at UC Berkeley, we get her son, Marco Troper, dead at 19 years old, what looks like a overdose of fentanyl. And he was a fraternity member of Zeta Psi, math and computer science guy, and he looks like a happy, good guy in the photos I've seen of him. And it's just really sad to see why don't these globalists see that they're destroying their own future and their own families by doing what they do. Wojcicki moved on. She was CEO of YouTube from 2014 to 2023, and she now has moved on to be an advisor at Google and Alphabet. And her sister, I believe, is the one who's still CEO of 23andMe, the DNA collection machine. And so that is interesting and sad. And so I'm going to move on from there. I want to go back into Angela Chao for a second, because she is the sister of Elaine Chao, Mitch McConnell's wife, who died, last week of drowning in a pond on her own property, where her Tesla apparently backed up into a pond and she died. And I just think this hasn't been getting any coverage, so I wanted to cover it again. Angela Chao is the CEO of the family's shipping company, right? This is Foremost Group. And this is the, Elaine Chao. She was secretary of the infrastructure. I'm missing the word right now, but she was like Buttigieg back then, right? She ran infrastructure and all of everything to do with the United States shipping and all of that. And her sister, this is Mitch McConnell. Okay, their family is the massive Chinese CCP connected shipping magnates, in the world. And Angela Chao just died in her own pond, where her Tesla ends up backed in there, and you have to wonder, was her Tesla remote controlled, backing her into the pond and locking the doors so she can't get out and she drowns. It all looks really fishy as McConnell is going down. He's lost his mind. He can't, really communicate well anymore. And now we see his sister-in-law die. And so Angela Chao, she was CEO of Foremost Group, which is the family's shipping company connected to the CCP, a global shipping fleet. And so, we have to wonder what's going on here, and I just think it's worth mentioning again. The Bank of China, she was a huge executive on the director of the board of the Bank of China. She graduated from Harvard Business School, as did Ned Price, graduating out of Georgetown, and then the Harvard Kennedy School of International Leadership. But we get her being on the Bank of China, director of the board, and she first married, this is interesting, she first married the American venture capitalist Bruce Wasserstein. He looked to be about 30 years older than her. This was in 2009, and within months of them marrying, he was dead. He was dead, but he did look a lot older than her. Like, he had to be about 30 years older than her, and that was creepy. Maybe that was, for entertainment purposes, only like a let's get the inheritance situation. But Bruce Wasserstein, a whole other little rabbit hole to go into. But then she married venture capitalist Jim Breyer with $3 billion net worth, but her net worth is huge as CEO of Foremost Group, that massive CCP shipping conglomeration, and on the board of the Bank of China. And so, we look at this, we're like, what's going on here as McConnell's losing steam, losing kind of control of the Senate? Something's going to happen soon where this is all going to change. But she was also a board member, multiple board members of multiple things. But one of them was the Massachusetts Maritime Academy, International Maritime Business Advisory Board. I thought that was very interesting. Massachusetts being so squirrely, caught up in this globalist, just completely stolen state for the globalists and the old blue bloods. And so she was on that board of Mass Maritime, and I know that they've had financial troubles in the last decade and really struggling. So interesting to see what's going on behind the scenes there. She was on the board of Carnegie Tsinghua Center for Global Policy, the Carnegie Foundation, there for the Center of Global Policy with China. She was on the executive committee of the Baltic International Maritime Council, the very poignant concerning what's going on right now in the Baltic. And she's just dead. Why, right? And so Kyle Bass, he's the CEO of Texas-based Heyman Capital. He comes out and apparently because they were working together, he says that Angela's death is very suspicious. He said that her 2016 board membership of the Bank of China and Chinese State Shipbuilding Corporation Holdings Limited, on the board of the Bank of China and also the Chinese State Shipbuilding Corporation Holdings Limited. That's a CCP-owned defense conglomerate, and he's come out and saying, this looks fishy. They're out of Heyman Capital. And Jim Breyer, her husband, the billionaire, Breyer Capital joined with Beijing-based IDG Capital Partners. IDG, we've heard that name many times on this channel. Well, in 2016, he went to raise $1 billion for them and is co-chairman of IDG Capital. And even though the Pentagon went after massive amounts of CCP-connected military complex, CCP military complex leaders, they left IDG out of it, even though it was massively connected to raising close to $2 billion for Chinese AI defense contractors. So there's that. And, I think it's all very interesting to note all of the interconnections here as we watch all of this information going through. And so at 34 minutes, I'm just going to cover, I'll mention we know that the truckers came out. We have a truckers group coming out and saying that they're not going to go through New York. This is interesting that you have independent truckers saying they won't go to New York based on the persecution of President Trump and Engoron's decision of charging him $355 million for a completely above the board real estate empire that he built, and Deutsche Bank coming out and saying no. He paid all of his, he made us millions and millions of dollars, basically. This was not anything to do with undercutting the banks. And so the truckers are coming out and saying that they're going to suspend delivery to New York. The independent truckers, they're calling on even the people in the corporate trucking world, like J.B. Hunt and all of these people, to slow roll. Basically, they're saying, hey, drive 55, drag it out, like make it take longer. But the independent truckers saying, no, we're not going to go to New York. We're going to avoid that hellhole. It's awful. It costs us hundreds of dollars to even make these deliveries. And then we're stuck in traffic. We're subject to, getting hit and being responsible. Like if somebody hits our truck, it's awful. In New York City is a very hard place to drive for normal humans, let alone truckers. And so they're basically saying, hey, we're jumping on this bandwagon. We're going to stop delivering goods as of today to New York City. So we'll see if that actually does something. I think it is an interesting tactic. I also think that, it can be done with taxes as well. You can slow roll your taxes, there's that, you can do payments, you can, you can do all kinds of stuff. And I think the slow roll to funding this government through this 2024 election is a really good way to go. That you can slow roll your tax payments. You can slow roll the deliveries to the places that are creating the most mayhem. In New York City right now, they're funding hotels. The mayor again is funding hotels there where they're making $250,000 a day, putting migrants in with our taxpayer dollars, okay, and New York taxpayer dollars, to put in invaders, illegal aliens, into hotels that are literally being paid, bought out the entire hotel. Now they're private. People can't even enter the hotel as a public place. They're private. You're not allowed to come in. And they're nice hotels, and they're paying them anywhere from $200 to $500 per room per night, $250,000 to $500,000, a day. Okay, that these people are making, and it's like COVID, where the box stores got insured and they got money out of COVID to be paid off to shut down all the mom and pops. Well, it's the same thing here. That the hotels are now getting used in the same fashion to house illegal migrants, they're not migrants, illegal aliens, okay, that are basically invaders coming into this country. We saw Laura Loomer down there in the Darien Gap today. She's there with Michael Yon. She's talking to Somalis who are coming up by the tens of hundreds up into the United States, asking them where they're going. They're saying, we're going to Michigan. We want to meet with Ilhan Omar. We want to be in her district. We want to support her. Ilhan Omar just last week did this incredibly treasonous video where she basically said, I am Somali first. She was speaking in Somalian to massive hordes of Somalis there in Michigan. And it's just very disturbing. Okay, it's disturbing. Laura Loomer said, what about Sharia law? Do you support Sharia law? And they were like, yeah, of course, Sharia law. We're hearing huge amounts in Michigan, especially, that there is massive amounts of female genital mutilation on the girls. That these doctors are doing it against the law in private to do these. Female genital mutilations where they literally cut out the entire clitoris of the girl. So not only will she never experience any kind of sexual pleasure with the person that she loves, with the man that she loves, she will be in pain for her entire life. That's the difference between male, circumcision and female genital mutilation. This is a much huger operation where women are in pain for their entire lives, and it's excruciating and it's awful and it's constantly there. And that is what female genital mutilation is done for in the name of Allah, that women are awful and dirty and must suffer their entire lives and never experience pleasure with sex. And so this is who these people are. That's what's going on. And so we're here at 40 minutes. I think there's so much more I could do, but I think I'm going to keep it a little bit short today. I'm going to get more into, as I said before, what's going on with these NACs and the development there, with what's going on with conservation easements. I'm going to do that in my next video because we do need to stay abreast of the National Asset Corporation. It's in a lull right now, this push to try to create an economy based on you not being allowed to use resources even on your own property. And this is a huge deal, but I'm going to do that in my next video where I can really just stretch it out long form. And so we'll be doing that in the next video. So thanks for watching, folks. You are free. This is an information war. So if you got something out of this video that you feel is not reported elsewhere or done in the right way and you want to support the channel, I really appreciate you doing so below. I want to give respect to my sponsor, C60 Evo, c60evo.com/YAFTV. Use the code YAFTV for 10% off. If you contribute to the channel, you get 15% off with a different code. And what's great about c60evo.com as we look at things like what's going on with the Internet of Bodies and the complete attack on our bodies by the shots, and everything being reported by all of the awful fake rubbery white blood clots. Basically, they're biosyn clogging up our arteries. How do we clean out our blood? How do we clean out our cells, our mitochondria? How do we do it? Well, c60evo.com gets into your mitochondria. It cleans it out using your glutathione and your melatonin, and it's very powerful. Also against inflammation, great for the memory, great for the mood. Just an amazing product that crosses the blood-brain barrier, gets into even all this crap that there is getting into our brains, because we know all the poisons of their biosyn is crossing the blood-brain barrier as well. So I'm going to leave it there, folks. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of this. We need to remember that we are absolutely the number one computing power. Okay, we are God's creation. And everything they're throwing at us and trying to suck out of us is because we are the number one energetic being in the world. Humans emit the most energy of any organism on the planet. We emit incredible amounts of energy, frequency, all of it. And so when we keep our frequency focused on God and prayer and actually, motion forward, picturing forward, okay, the outcome you want. Where your attention goes is where your energy goes. So you want to put your attention towards the good, towards God. You want to put your intention towards the solutions and how we can create God's, coming future here on earth. And so don't get too wrapped up in the bad news. Actually put a lot of your energy into prayer, into the good news, and also especially good works. Every single little thing you do to obey God's rule, if you for a second, oh, I should do that thing, that would be good, do it. Okay, God sees it. Every little thing of good you do has an exponential effect. Okay, it's so easy to destroy. It's so easy to be necrophilic and life hating. Okay, and to succumb to that satanic lie that, oh, I'll just sloth off, I'll just not do anything, I'll just blah, blah. instead of, no, I'm going to do this little bit of good. I'm going to do that little bit of good. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to, try to push freedom, forward into the world. I'm going to push Christ's message into the world. Every little bit of that is like massive amounts of energy being created when you do the good. So do the good. Precinctstrategy.com. Get involved there. We need massive amounts of precinct managers. We just had, there was the first non-U.S. citizen, a Chinese national, put on the election board in San Francisco. On the election board, a Chinese-speaking non-U.S. citizen put on the election board. We need you to get involved. Precinctstrategy.com. So thanks for listening. You are free, and I will see you next time.